is CBS News Miami.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Najahe Sherman, and welcome to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. The Vatican is finalizing plans to honor Pope Francis and vote for a new pontiff. We are also seeing the Pope in his coffin before he lies in state. CBS News Miami's Tony Aiello reports from Rome.
Catholic cardinals are gathering at the Vatican to finalize plans to honor Pope Francis and eventually choose his successor. Senior clergy and Vatican officials paid their respects to Francis Tuesday during an intimate service at the Santa Marta Hotel, where he laid in a coffin, adorned in a red robe and papal mitre. The first images of the late pontiff came on the same day Vatican officials announced his funeral will be held Saturday in St. Peter's Square.
There is a sense of a void that is somehow going to have to be filled, but coupled with that immediately is also the intrigue of what comes next.
The 88-year-old who died Easter Monday after a stroke that caused heart failure left behind specific instructions for a simple burial at Rome's Basilica of St. Mary Major, with a one-word inscription on his tomb, Franciscus, his name in Latin. There will be chanting in Latin as Pope Francis's body is moved in a solemn procession on Wednesday from Santa Marta to St. Peter's Basilica, where he will lie in state until the funeral and burial.
Pope Francis almost had like a radar for people who were left behind.
CBS Evening News co-anchor Maurice Dubois spoke with Cardinal Timothy Dolan, who was part of the conclave that selected Pope Francis 12 years ago.
They're going to see some mourning, they're going to see some gratitude, they're going to see some hope, and then they're going to see people say we need to get to work.
The cardinals will be choosing a date after Saturday's funeral to begin their conclave to elect the church's next leader. Tony Aiello, CBS News, Rome.
Stay with CBS News Miami on air and online for continuing coverage of the passing of Pope Francis.
Always alerting, always tracking. This is Next Weather.
Another warm and dry day across South Florida. The rip current's still a concern, Ivan.
Still a concern. You know, the Weather Service has now expanded and extended the alert through Friday as conditions are still going to be dangerous here. So we're still under the same pattern, an easterly wind that prevails. And that, you know, what happens is you get that east wind that breaks through sandbars. And so that water then has to gush back out into the ocean. That's what you get trapped in. And that's why we talk about these alerts here. Check out the forecast as we talk about 1 to 2 foot waves. That's never the problem. It's the undercurrent that can really lead to dangerous conditions, and that's going to continue as we head through tomorrow once again. So that is the plan there. Let's check for the rest of the forecast. Open up the window and see on conditions because we've had some nice weather lately. Temperatures have been in the 80s, and we continue to see numbers generally in that range, and that's going to continue. And by the way, that is pretty normal for this time of year. Just a few clouds kind of rolling in from the east. That's that flow that we've been talking about here. So at times it does look like it's mostly cloudy and perhaps we're going to get some rain. Not the case. In fact, I'll widen out the shot. You'll be able to see there's really no rain across Florida here. We're looking pretty good. It's just that east wind with enough moisture to be able to transport just a few clouds in our direction. Eventually, I think we'll get into some rain chances. So let's talk about that because we need the rain, and we're going to get a little bit of it, I think, by the time we get into late week. But the rain chances are not going to be high, and the rainfall isn't going to be significant here. So really, we need a lot more rain and more frequently than what we're going to get. Winds are still out of the east, 10 to 15. They've come down, right? So the advisories for as far as marine conditions have improved, but the rip current threat continues to be high. Again, this is one of the issues. The area of high pressure to our east is blocking anything from coming in our direction. I mean, if something were to come from the south, we'd get in on some moisture, but it's just dry air southeast. In fact, very dry air across the Caribbean. So even with an east to southeast wind, we're only going to be able to crank out just a couple of showers. As I mentioned yesterday, that's going to happen towards the end of the week. We'll have enough moisture, and then heading into the weekend as well. Humidity climbing a little bit, so you feel a little stickier out there, but it's not too uncomfortable, but it does make it feel a little bit warmer than the actual temperature, which is pretty normal for this time of year. We're in the mid 80s, and here come the rain chances, again, not high. So we're looking at the best shot here on Thursday, and these are fast moving showers that don't produce much rainfall. That is the case again on Friday, less or so through the weekend, and then again into early early next week. Pretty steady forecast, breezy through the afternoon, mid-80s with very low rain chances over the next 7 days. Naja.
Ivan, thank you. And now to breaking news in Southwest Miami-Dade. Chopper 4 over a deadly shooting scene. This is in the area of Southwest 139th Avenue near a canal. Police found someone who'd been shot. They later died at the hospital. We'll have a live report coming up at 5. Now to a developing story in Deerfield Beach. An armed woman was shot and killed by deputies. CBS News Miami's Morgan Reiner is at the scene with what we're learning from investigators.
This morning, investigators are trying to figure out the why, because right now it's unclear if that woman was waving around the large knives, if she was threatening people. The Broward Sheriff's Office said the call came in shortly after 7 p.m. on Monday night from a witness complaining about a suspicious woman armed with several knives near Southeast 10th Street and South Federal Highway. This morning, we are working to learn the identity of the woman, her age, and where she lived. The deputies answering the 911 call found her near a grocery cart and bus stop. At least one deputy shot the woman. For witnesses and investigators, the question is why?
Those are still questions detectives are looking into. Exactly what happened. Was she waving? Was she threatening people? Those are all the questions they're looking into right now.
Whenever there is an officer or a deputy involved shooting, state investigators take over the investigation. That is what's happening in this case. But the Broward Sheriff's Office said they will also have an internal investigation. In Deerfield Beach, Morgan Reiner, CBS News, Miami.
Mixed feelings at Florida State University. Class resumed just days after a deadly mass shooting on campus. Students and staff are mourning the loss of 2 people who were shot and killed last Thursday. 5 others were hurt. The accused shooter was also taken to the hospital after being shot by police. Monday, students and faculty were back on campus with only 1 week left before finals. Support animals were on hand to help people with their emotions, but many students say they are not emotionally or mentally ready to return.
I can't really get myself to do anything at the moment, and it feels disrespectful to the victims, and it feels disrespectful to a community that's still grieving to go back this soon.
A petition urging FSU to cancel final exams next week has around 12,000 signatures. When we come back, Fleet Week sets sail into Fort Lauderdale. And be sure to join us for the CBS News Miami special, Elion 25 Years Later. That's tonight at 6:30 on the CBS News Miami stream. Find us on the CBS News Miami app, Pluto TV, and cbsmiami.com.
How to make a good night's sleep a dream come true. Wednesday morning at 6.
Today is Earth Day. Every April 22nd, more than 1 billion people come out and help protect the planet, including right here in Florida. Our own next weather meteorologist, Lisette Gonzalez, visited a special school, and they are going above and beyond to protect the environment. That's with the help of an organization called Dream in Green.
It is important to take care of our planet because if we don't take care of our planet, who will?
Students at Twin Lakes Elementary School are doing their part to protect our planet in partnership with Dream in Green.
The Green Schools Challenge program is a whole systems approach to environmental education in which we have hands-on lessons and activities for the schools, for pre-K through 12th grade schools, to implement that talk about energy efficiency, water conservation, and how to preserve our natural resources.
Twin Lakes Garden Club and Environmental Club teacher Alina Sheriff helped create the first food forest in Miami-Dade. She teaches lessons provided by Dream in Green.
Well, the Earth Week Challenge is something that is amazing because it teaches students how to go meat less. It also encourages them to take a bike to school, reduce emission by not coming to school in the cars, take a bike, walk. Also on water days, they can conserve water at home, and also they can have a voice, right? They have civic responsibility.
For Earth Week, students also learned how to reduce waste and reduce their carbon footprint by recycling, composting, and doing vermiculture with a worm farm.
Well, I love going to the garden and figuring out new plants, and I love how if there's any trash on the floor, then I get to reuse and recycle and compost.
The compost helps our environment by not sending things to the landfill. because the landfill causes like pollution and it makes us really hot as well.
So worms are used for composting because what we do is basically, let's say I eat a banana and I have the peel left. Instead of throwing it into a landfill, like into the trash for a landfill, I put it inside the worm bin, which is the worm farm. The reason I enjoy being here is number one, the worm farm, and also I like the point that while we're having fun, we're improving our garden and helping the environment.
These kids, they are the future, and if we don't install the importance of what Earth Week is, how to protect their environment, somebody has to, and it starts here.
Happy Earth Week from Twin Lakes Elementary School.
Fort Lauderdale Fleet Week is here. This morning, ships began arriving at Port Everglades with hundreds of sailors, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen. They will take part in the week-long event, which includes community projects, a golf tournament, a fishing tournament, and outreach activities.
We will be bringing in 4 ships. What is really unique about the 4 ships that we're bringing in is, one, we're bringing in the USS New York, which is made from the steel from the Twin Towers. We're bringing both a submarine and some of the latest and greatest equipment on board that landing ship that you're going to go see, along with the latest and greatest equipment on the destroyer. So you're going to see the most innovative technology that the U.S. Navy has.
Highlights include live demonstrations and performances by a Navy band. And that does it for CBS News Miami's Quickcast. I'm Najahe Sherman. Stay tuned for more news right here on CBS News Miami, and have a wonderful day.